Welcome to Maroon Sports Talk, your go-to podcast for all things sports at EKU. Join us each week as we dive into the latest games and explore the world of sports. Whether you bleed maroon or just love college sports, this podcast is your ticket to staying informed. I'm Kaitlyn Andrews.
I'm Speer.
I'm Joey Aguirre.
And welcome.
So kind of diving into things here, some big news. I know we talked about basketball last week. It was pretty heavy. A lot of news, a lot of rumors. And kind of we had to clear the air this past week with Devontae Blanton coming back. Leland's still in the transfer portal. A-Dub, I haven't heard anything about him, so I assume he's staying. UIC did hire somebody else, which is good, from UAB down to Alabama, Birmingham. They made the NCAA tournament. So I really do think everything is set in stone now. We just got to recruit yesterday a point guard. So it all seems like kind of developing, and now the time is to start hitting that transfer portal, what we talked about deep last week. So kind of just want to give an update about that. He did receive a Top 25 Madison County Leadership Award, which recognizes individuals' significant accomplishments within the past professional field and contributed to Madison County, which I do think he does deserve that. I mean, we had the most tickets sold in the ASUN 2 years ago, and I'm assuming that's going to stay the same. And then we had ESPNU come here, so a lot of national attention being brought to EKU. And then Cozart is a finalist for Lou Henson National Player of the Year Award. As Kaitlyn, as kind of like a former athlete, how do you think all this great news about basketball can impact like EKU in sort of lots of ways?
Yeah, I think, over the past few years, we've definitely become a really, a lot of basketball fans here. Everyone really pays attention to what's going on to EKU basketball. So I think A-Dub receiving that award, really shows how much of a contribution he's had to this community so far, and just everyone paying attention to basketball and what he's done for this program and just this community, and it's awesome. And having a player announce that they're going to be staying after all this transfer portal rumors and stuff like that, chaos, yes, is always great to hear. It's always good to know that someone's going to be sticking around, and we got someone for sure staying, so that's awesome. And then we'll see what happens with Leland and Tayshawn. And then, Cozart being that finalist, it's just all good news, so that's awesome.
And it'll be announced during the Final Four, which is in Arizona, which is kind of get more attention. I know we didn't make the big dance, but it really kind of shows a significant national attention to EKU because they will be announcing it during the Final Four, which generates millions of viewers. Joey, kind of just a student here, how do you think any way they can keep up this attention to draw in students and draw in the Maroon platoon and get that student section keep being packed out over the games?
For all sports or just
basketball?
Okay, basketball, I would say, especially if Cozart does get that finalist, that would be phenomenal, and I think that would get a lot of attention, especially from the students, his classmates specifically too, and just making use of all the good news that's going around to get their attention.
Definitely.
And kind of leading next year will be a really young team, or maybe a bunch of transfers. We don't know.
We'll see.
Portal.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. So kind of moving into football here, you really had a story about that for the Progress. Tell me kind of about what you wrote about and kind of how good is it for the football program?
Yeah, so we had 25 NFL scouts come out for Pro Day, which is just absolutely insane. That's so awesome to be able to have so many people in Richmond getting to look at our athletes. It's just so cool. So we had 3 players that were on the draft countdown big board, which is really paying attention to them. We had former quarterback Parker McKinney. He was ranked 50th out of the quarterbacks. And then we had Josiah Ezerum, I hope I said that right, who actually just attended an NFL Combine in Indianapolis. And then we had Frankie West Jr., who is also on the countdown.
And I know you got to talk with that linebacker after the Pro Day, and it was really cool to kind of hear him talk about how not a lot of scouts were on him at the start of the day, and then he had that vertical jump, and that garnered a lot of attention.
Yes.
He ranked 10th overall out of all linebackers that are entering the draft, and then he got to go to that local pro day in Indianapolis for the Colts. So I think that was pretty huge, and so that's just great. And Parker McKinney, kind of 50th, kind of shocking to me personally because he had such a great year his junior year, and then I know his senior he had some injuries, so I don't know if the scouts are concerned with that. But I really do think he should be higher on the board.
Yeah.
And then Frankie West, I know he's a little shorter stature, but he has that huge wingspan. I think he could be great on Sundays. So.
Yeah, obviously a lot of talent. I think it's hard to when you're a quarterback. It's tough competition. We all know that Parker is really good and can compete. But I think, when you're competing against quarterbacks at bigger schools with more money, getting more attention, it can be hard to really, share your skills out there. And then we also had linebacker Logan Blake, who had a really standout performance at the pro day, jumping that really high vertical, which would have been the best at the NFL Combine, I believe, out of linebackers.
Yeah,
so.
and so I really kind of talking about, they had running fullback routes.
They did,
Catching balls from Parker McKinney. I think that was probably because maybe they want to see if he can intercept the ball. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, it can only mean good things, I
only
think.
good
It can
things,
only mean
as a
good
linebacker
things
getting
for him.
asked to run fullback routes is pretty wild.
Yeah.
So kind of moving forward to that, Joey, you have any esports updates for us?
I actually have. So first off, for EKU esports, playoffs start next week. So and our Rainbow Six team for sure is playing. I'm not sure about the other teams. They're the only ones who have responded to me. So hopefully more information next week when they reach out. But Esports World Cup has had. I didn't realize they had a Twitter. So found a bunch of information on them.
Yeah.
So they have. This is their current roster of games: Free Fire, PUBG, PUBG Mobile, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch 2, Dota 2, FIFA 24, Street Fighter 6, Rocket League, and Fortnite.
Ooh.
So that's 10 games total right now that have been announced for this Esports World Cup that'll be occurring this summer.
That's awesome.
Wow, that is pretty cool. What's kind of your favorite game out of that list? Would you be most interested in watching?
For me, out of that list, I'd say Rainbow Six. I mean, Dota 2, it's a good game. It's very similar to League, but Rainbow Six, I've actually played, and I have experience with that game.
I haven't played a lot of Rainbow Six Siege. What is that kind of like? Is it like Call of Duty? Is it like Fortnite? Is it like combat? But I've heard only like it's just. I heard it's just crazy. I heard it like you just dive in there and it's wild. Like,
it really is. Have you played Valorant? No.
I have heard of that.
Okay, so
she's heard of it.
So Rainbow Six Siege, it's a 5v5 game where there's attackers and defenders, and you'll swap places halfway through the round, and from there you choose a different operator. You can choose a different operator each round. It changes as the game goes on based on what the team decides is better for the location of the bombs, where they need to reinforce. All that information gets taken into account when looking at this stuff. I was actually shown by one of our Rainbow Six team members that they have plans in place for, okay, these are the best operators for this map at this bomb site. This is where we need to reinforce. They think about everything. And this is a college team. So the pros probably go a lot more in depth, and there's a lot more rehearsal for them. I'm assuming our team does just as much, but yeah, that's...
You shock me every week.
Yeah, you do. I feel like every week I learn something new.
You blow my mind every week, Joey, because just the strategy that goes behind these games, like as a new player, how do you get involved in this? Like, I mean, you just be bad for a while? Like, I don't know. Like,
so, I mean... For me, one of the things that helped was making sure I had 5 people to play with. So it was me and 4 of my friends, and we'd all get on, play together, and they would teach me what I needed to do, or they would run through the basics with me. So it's better going into these games, making sure you have a group to actually be with you, and so that it's not as overwhelming, you could say. Because then you can be yourself more often. I feel like if you're with your friends and you're not afraid to make mistakes.
You can ask questions.
Yeah. Because obviously in a lobby full of randoms, you're gonna get made fun of.
Yeah. Is there a game that you would recommend to someone that like wanted to get into it, like sort of like a more beginner game? Yeah.
I would say. A lot of these games, I mean, as you guys have learned, take strategy.
Yeah,
there's a lot of strategy that goes into all these games. So, I mean, maybe any of the battle royales would be a good esports starter. So, for this lineup, Fortnite, PUBG Mobile, PUBG, and I believe Free Fire is also battle royale. So those might be the easier games to get into as they're more self-reliant.
That's awesome. We'll be diving more into esports here later in the episode. We kind of want to turn back to we'll start with softball, yeah. They're currently 23-4, 6-0 in conference. I mean, they're all just on a complete tear.
Every week we just talk about softball and we're like, they're doing great, they're killing it.
They're really killing it.
Literally, they are dominating the conference right now, so.
Sweeping everybody. I don't know much more to say. I mean, coming off they swept Kennesaw State. They had that doubleheader, and Maddie Rattan almost had a perfect game again.
I mean,
she
came to college and just killed it right away.
Yeah,
so that's awesome
to see. I'm going to take over.
Awesome to see.
She got hit off in the 5th or 6th inning, and that kind of ended her streak. But, I mean, she just keeps continuing to play good. And we kind of bounced back in pitchers during the first 2 games. We had one pitcher pitch in the first game and then another one in the second game. So it's just pitching is killer. I mean, I don't know much more to say.
They have lots of options for pitching, I think, too. Like, obviously, Maddie is killing it, but they have lots of other people who are talented, too.
We read off that stats last week. Yeah, every single pitcher had almost an under 3 ERA.
It's so good.
And their opponents' on-base percentage, OBS, is not great either, which is good for us because that means they're not getting on base. Yep. And so kind of flipping up the switch to baseball, they're kind of picking it up lately.
Yeah, for sure.
Beat NKU last night. I mean,
yes, we were both there. It was awesome.
It looked like a football score. It was like watching a football team.
It was fun to watch.
NKU would take the lead, and then we would come back. It was just so much offense.
Yeah, it was a long game, but it was definitely everyone was on the edge of their seat for it.
Even like the broadcasters were saying, Wes and Stotts, that they were trying to entertain themselves in the dugout because the game just kept on going and going. And our players started having like 6 at-bats, which is like kind of a stretch over 2 games, but it's 1 game. So, and then softball plays NKU today,
kind of coming up.
In an hour.
In an hour they do, but then they'll play North Alabama in a 3-game series this weekend as well. And then baseball is playing Stetson Thursday to Saturday, 3-game series. And then they'll have a rematch against Moorhead next Tuesday at 6.
Ooh.
So that'll be interesting to see.
I think we should come back and try and get that win because it wasn't the best game that we played.
No, I think we could have.
Again, kind of you stressed this the first episode, just trying to find that consistency in pitching, and it doesn't seem to be there. But their offense, which is a good thing because our offense can get on base, and that means that can give us more time, our pitchers, to try and find that groove, get anyone off injury. I don't know if anyone is injured at the moment, to try and get that back on track. And we have had good pitching games. Against, was it just Central Arkansas the previous series?
I think our game last night, too, you could really see the talent we had with pitching, too.
But we had a guy come in the 7th inning, and he got 3 up, 3 down, and there was no runs scored. I'm pretty sure it might have been 1, but he really didn't seem to find the groove. So it's there, and I think you just need to keep building that confidence with this winning streak and just keep on chucking forward. We're 2nd in the conference with 5-1, so
5-1 is a great start to conference.
We stressed this 2 weeks ago. The conference play is the most important play for these mid-major schools to try and get in the regionals and try and get in this Super 16. So
definitely, I think that is their focus is the conference. I think that they played those tough games early on to try and get ready for these conference games, and I hope that they do pay off for them. And we'll stay tuned and see how they keep doing and stuff. So
Joey, kind of jumping back to esports here. Any updates on the game that or what is it you're building?
Yeah, your test game.
Your test game,
Yes. So, as I described last week, I'm using that game to test the software I'm going to be using to outline my game. And so it's sticking to the same concept, just a different location, story. So everything's different about it. Yeah. But the general idea of it is still there.
Very cool. That's exciting.
Any ideas? How do you build something like this? What was your kind of process into building or trying to attempt to do something like this?
Well, so I haven't actually started building the game whatsoever. This, the website I use, it turns it into a text-based game where you go through and you click on options. So it's very minimal. And it runs any computer that can run an HTML file. Awesome. So, like I said, I'm using that I'm going to use it to outline my game and then go from there.
That's so cool. I'm excited to hear more about that. Yeah.
And kind of moving towards tennis here, they're obviously killing it too. Pretty sure we start live streaming here in a few weeks.
I think we do. I think their final 2 games, I think we're trying to stream. So, yeah, the men's are still dominating. They're 3-0 in conference and 18-4 overall, so obviously killing it. They're just coming off a conference win against Queens, who they were battling for the number 1 spot in the conference with them. So I believe they are number 1 right now. And then they'll play North Alabama tomorrow at noon and Lipscomb on Saturday at 3.
And then kind of women's here, 9-12, 2-2 in the conference. I mean, still pretty good, coming off a loss to Central Arkansas last Friday. If we get these games up and streaming, I think it'll generate more recruits' attention. And we can kind of say, hey, we're putting tennis on this, not pedestal, but just kind of showing, highlighting how good they're doing, and they deserve to be streamed. So I think just keep on trucking along, and then hopefully, you never know, coming back next year, we can do even better and kind of run the table in the conference and just keep building on the momentum that we have going in right now. So
yeah, I feel like, too, we could talk a little bit about how streaming is going to, like, help improve how they're going to be highlighted. Like, I think only, like, 5 schools stream tennis and, like, I don't know. And like, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of people that stream tennis. So I think that this is a really great opportunity for them to get their names out there, perform well, kind of get EKU out there too, as a whole school.
And
so
I know it might be tough seeing we're streaming all these other games and they don't have that capability, but now they do. And so hopefully to build momentum and morale for the team and just keep on trucking along, and then going into whatever comes after the conference play. So we can touch on more next week too.
For sure.
Kind of something to highlight kind of what does the postseason is a thing for tennis, and then also if there is, how do they compete and how do they keep moving forward from here on out.
I think that would be a great focus. And I think right now everyone's kind of following them on their socials right now. I think that's where you get updated on everything. So streaming will help people kind of see everything in action. So that'll be really cool.
That'll be really fun to see.
Yeah.
So kind of moving towards beach volleyball. You can kind of touch on that,
Yeah, right now they're 8-7 overall. They're coming off of the Stashville Beach Batch in Clarksville, Tennessee. They won 2 out of 3 games, beating Central Arkansas and their self-proclaimed rival, Austin Peay. That's always a really big game for them because they are the closest school, so they're kind of rivals. And then this weekend, they will attend the ULM Beach Invitational. They'll play Hendricks, Central Arkansas, Louisiana Monroe, and Tarleton State.
Yeah, and Louisiana Monroe will be the hosting team, I'm pretty sure. So that'd be kind of cool to beat them on their home court. So a little update for beach volleyball. Joey, anything else you want to touch on for esports here?
I did realize I forgot to mention something about the Esports World Cup. Sony is now a founding partner of the Esports World Cup. That was announced yesterday.
Wow.
That's huge.
I believe so.
And they own PlayStation.
That'll be
sure, right?
Yes. Yeah. Sony owns PlayStation, and they've started to actually release some of their games onto PC now. So that'll be reaching more of a following for those who don't own PlayStations, but also some of the way they're choosing people for the Esports World Cup is they're having brackets outside of this. So right now they are having something known as Face It, which is also run by the Esports World Cup. And it's done by regions, and it's teams fighting in a game for placements for this. So world ranking, so for Counter-Strike, world rankings for EU, NA, and SA will make it into the actual game.
Gotcha.
That's
so
really
how many people would that be?
So there's going to be
teams, I guess.
So that's only 3 of the teams that would make it.
Okay,
There's
gotcha.
actually 15 total teams that would end up making it for Counter-Strike into the Esports World Cup. So hopefully that continues across every game as that'll reach more people. But also for the Face It, when I was looking at it, it looks like any team can enter. So as long as you have a team put together, you can sign up to join these tournaments and compete for a chance at the Esports World Cup.
Do they need to be affiliated with a school, or can they just be their own team?
I don't know. I'm looking at the.
Could they? Would they have to go to Riyadh or Saudi Arabia?
You would need to end up going.
So were you gonna go, or are you?
Yeah. So you need to be able to. I don't know
pay
if they
for
pay
it?
for you
Okay.
or whatnot, but
That'd be really cool if they do.
as of right now, assuming you don't get paid for,
Gotcha.
you would need to have the finances to bring all your equipment.
Wow.
I don't think you need to bring all your equipment. They should have equipment there.
Okay.
That'd be reasonable.
Yeah.
But
I hope so.
right now for the EMEA qualifiers, there's only
Wow.
that can compete, and this is just for I believe Counter-Strike. Oh no, Overwatch 2.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
Gotcha. Wow. That's
Yeah.
so interesting.
How would you give like anyone that's trying to compete in a league play any advice on where to get that started or how to try and get that started for them?
So for esports, it's a lot different than actual sports. You don't have scouts coming to your
Yeah.
games or watching your streams or anything like that. You need to essentially put your own team together and start competing in like these smaller brackets and then build up from there. And then from there, you'll start to get noticed by those bigger teams. So it's a lot longer of a process, I feel like.
Where would you go to kind of start? Like, just start. How would you get that started?
I mean, all I can recommend from the knowledge I have right now is looking up tournaments for whatever game you're interested in doing. So like League of Legends, look up League of Legends tournaments. Get together your team and start competing. And once you guys start competing, getting to those higher levels, and then you can start to actually have a chance, I'd feel like.
How does like streaming your games and kind of marketing yourself affect like, you know, getting your name out there and your team's name out there?
So that's the interesting thing. I personally don't know of many streamers who are
Really?
on
Interesting.
professional teams.
Okay, interesting.
Unless like unless they're already on the team and then they start streaming.
Okay.
But I don't know of many streamers who have gone from streaming to a professional team
Interesting. Okay.
and then moving on from there. All I've seen is they're either on a team, they start streaming, or after they retire, they start streaming. So, but I feel like if these teams did go to, oh, hey, look at this streamer. He plays our game. Let's see where he is. And like, if they started doing that, that could increase their player count substantially.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
That's
so
awesome.
interesting. Yeah.
And kind of one thing before, if we have anything else to talk about, kind of wanted to highlight something. I thought it was really cool. I got to speak with assistant coach Coretta Brown, and I thought it was really cool too. She told me kind of like her life story and stuff, and she was the 11th overall pick in the 2003 WNBA draft.
Wow, that's
and
awesome.
She is here at EKU as an assistant coach. So I thought it was really cool that someone on that caliber is here coaching,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't really think of that at EKU of all places. So I thought it was cool. I just wanted to highlight that, give a little quick shout out. So do you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about, bring up, or any rumors you're hearing or anything like that?
Not a lot of rumors this week. All the rumors were last week, I feel
Long
like.
episode last week, almost 40 minutes. So if we don't have anything else, I think that will be it. If you guys don't have anything else.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just stay updated on baseball and softball this week, and
We'll
we'll see
try
what
and get a longer
happens.
episode out next week too, and kind of generate some things more to talk about. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool.